Hi and welcome to Capacity TV. I'm delighted to be joined today by Michael from NTT Communications. Michael, welcome.
Thanks, Jason.
Cybersecurity, huge issue at the moment, not just within our own industry, but across the globe with high-profile data breaches. I just wanted to find out, how is NTT Com kind of helping the industry tackle that challenge to protect the industry and the networks and the IP industry in general?
So it's definitely a huge issue for sure. It has a lot of facets to it, so it's almost unfair to kind of tackle it with one question or one answer. But from a network security perspective, we certainly try to evangelize the whole issue of network security. We have everything from just some free BGP tools around black holing that we provide to all of our customers. We obviously have products that we sell to customers as well. We have a DDoS protection product that provides mitigation and access control lists for customers. And then as an industry, it's certainly something that we see as important for all of us as carriers and tier one network suppliers to be as collaborative as possible on. We're all running different networks with different dynamics behind those networks and different geographies in some cases. But the communication and the coordination between us as attacks occur, and even postmortems after large scale attacks that have affected multiple networks have occurred, are important parts of that process, and kind of a responsibility that we have to the industry and kind of to the ecosystem as a whole. So we try to look at it from a number of different aspects, but those are kind of the key areas that we focus on. And then when you broaden it to things like ransomware, identity theft, a number of other things, those are areas that are kind of outside of our traditional scope. We certainly think they're important, but we try to focus in on the area in which we can provide the most value in the conversation.
So talking about collaboration, how are global carriers actively working together?
There's a lot of levels of interaction between the carriers, and there has been since the beginning of the internet. But the strength and the weakness of the internet is everything's publicly addressable. Everybody knows where IP addresses are registered. Everyone has visibility to that, the good actors and the bad actors. And so, from a carrier point of view, there are, I would say, kind of high level conversations that occur, but there are also a lot of discussions that occur in real time as attacks are occurring across the network. And the other groups that are part of that who aren't carriers are, DDoS mitigation providers who are kind of specialized security vendors. They're in many cases customers, but they're also providers to some of our customers. So we have a common customer in that regard. We work with them as well in those situations because they're certainly there to provide that particular service. But so it's not something that is purely happening at a kind of upper level, executive level. Almost more of the real nuts and bolts heavy lifting work is done by the folks day to day who are on the keyboards addressing attacks and interacting when those things are happening on the broader network.
So NTT Com recently expanded its DDoS protection services product. Could you explain a little bit about how that's changed and evolved, and what are the benefits?
We went to market with our original DDoS protection product a little over 3 years ago, and it's gone very well. We've been very happy with the uptick from customers, and as part of that, we obviously want to get their feedback on features and functionality and what they like and what they want to see in the future. And interestingly enough, we had a number of people who were customers but were wanting to have a DDoS option, but not quite at the level in which our DDoS protection service offering was. They wanted something a little bit less than, or a little lighter as a service. So not generally how we would typically see a product family evolving. Usually you're adding more features and building onto it. But in this case, our first step was to actually kind of pull off a few of the more sophisticated components of it and just make a lighter product for them. And so we call it DPS control. And it's also done very well since we brought it to market. It just fits with certain customers' requirements. And a lot of customers also have multiple security approaches that they take. And so in some cases, customers were already using other types of mitigation services or their own mitigation. And so they didn't need the full-blown DDoS protection service offering that we had at the time. So it's been a good fit, but we certainly have a roadmap that provides additional features in the future for some new product rollouts that we'll be able to talk about probably later this year.
And looking at other sort of developments, the deployment of 100 gig ports has been quite a big one over the last few years.
Yes.
What has NTT Com seen from its own customers? Are they kind of increasingly wanting to kind of switch over to 100 gig?
Yeah, definitely. We first made 100 gig ports available to customers in the late 2014 timeframe. And we knew that was pretty early, and we had certainly a few customers, but it wasn't a big massive shift. But I would have certainly predicted by the end of that year and the beginning of 2015, we would have seen a bigger kind of uptick or migration from the 10 gig customers that we have. But that seemed to be slow until about a year ago. We saw our growth of 100 gig ports to customers increase by well over triple digits in regards to percentages from the last year, from the beginning of 2016 compared to 2015. So that uptick has been really aggressive this last year, and we kind of think it's the starting point for the progression that we'll see over the next 2 or 3, maybe 4 years. So the customers have really moved forward with that. I think we've seen it because the capex cost structures have changed and become much more affordable. And we've seen some generational shifts for customers as they've moved from one chassis platform to the next. And that's kind of provided a good opportunity for them to move from 10 gig to 100 gig.
And another change that we've sort of seen in the industry is, the storage of data closer to the edge.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to find out from your experience, how is that really going to affect the wholesale IP industry, and how are global carriers sort of tackling that and addressing that, and how are they evolving their businesses?
There's definitely been some evolution in that regard. I think that if you focus in a particular region, the evolution may be a little bit more acute. But when you look at it globally, there's still traffic that has to get moved around the world, and it doesn't necessarily source and destined in the same market or on the same edge. And so for us, we haven't seen huge shifts in that regard in a negative way. We've seen actually create opportunity where we have large scale, especially content customers who want to be on the edge. And so us offering them the ability to be connected to a single autonomous system with a single network operations center with a single set of BGP policies and rules in place that applies wherever they connect to us around the world has been a huge benefit for us and provided us a lot of customer opportunity. So, I think for us, that dynamic has actually been incredibly helpful versus been limiting in any way in regards to kind of customer requirement or customer demand.
Brilliant. That's very thought provoking, Michael. Thank you very much for joining us today on Capacity TV.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.